Hi guys, so I started with another Santa Muerte Oracle number 27 with Harvest, and this talks about reaping what you've sowed. So you've been working hard, at something, and now it's time to reap those rewards, whatever those rewards would be. And it talks about if your work was in harmony with the higher forces, represented by love and fraternity flow, or if it was in direct contact with your will, the results will be intense and speedy. And then it says, if, however, your action was obscured or corrupted in some way, you will have to have the courage to grasp the sickle and cut away that which is superfluous. I don't know what that means, to start again without fear of failure and learning from your mistakes. The advice of the dead says you have not yet reached your final realization, but the results are coming, so persevere and continue with your work. So, what this means to me, and if we, once we get deeper in this reading, you'll know what I'm talking about. It talks about, I like to talk about this all the time too. Like we kind of get to that same spot in the wheel that we've been before. We've learned those lessons. We've matured, right? That's the whole point of this whole thing is, it's like we get a little bit better at it. You refine yourself. So, it's kind of and I like to use this analogy too. Like if you're playing a video game and, especially like old school stuff like Mega Man, I hated that game so bad. But, it's muscle memory. You do it over and over again, so you learn the lesson. So the next time you get through it faster. It's kind of like that. But it's also, I think in this aspect, it's also where there are parts of us that sometimes when we do things, we don't realize we need to refine a little bit, or that are kind of blocking us. And the only way that you know that is by doing the thing, right? Like you get really excited about something and you go all out, and then it's a bust. And a lot of times it could be your approach. It could also be something that maybe you're putting your energy in the wrong direction, or you're doing too much, or you're not balancing your time with your passions with your day to day, right? That type of thing, which I kind of have. I have to do that a lot. But anyway, so I kind of feel like that's what this is saying. This is saying like this is another level of your journey, but it's and it's not a bad thing. This is a good thing. This is that refinement. It's like those towers that kind of show us a spot that we need to fix. It gives me a lot of the tower energy, but not in like a super drastic change. I feel like this is more like kind of like, that 2 steps forward and 1 step back type of thing. You know what I mean? I also feel like, because I've been getting this message personally a lot, and I don't know if anybody else has. It's almost like, okay, it's time to start again. It's almost like, you push a little bit further and you've gotten somewhere, but things kind of haven't worked out. It's almost time to kind of pick up and push forward. It's almost like a test of your durability. And if you're like me, that's what you master at. I'm like, I don't perfect a lot of things, but the one thing I'm really good at is I just keep going, right? Um, I used to say all the time that but I would say I don't know what I'm doing, but I just keep moving and things happen. So it's kind of like that. It's kind of like understand, but this at this point we understand what's happening, right? Like it's almost like I think yesterday did I have the full there? I don't know, but I feel like this is kind of like a fool coming right back around the wheel again. And then I have in my herbal astrology oracle, I have Jurgen Sacha, which is kind of like it's the snake herb, and it's a transformation herb. It's snake medicine. It's Mars and Pluto, so tower, right? It's a powerful protector and like a agent of transformation. It helps neutralize poison. It helps you let go of fear. Um, it's like turning poison into medicine. Like you're facing the thing that you're scared of. You're facing the thing that you need to refine, that sometimes maybe we keep running away from. So kind of like that harvest energy again, it's kind of like, okay, you've gained something, but how can you do this better? Kind of like, you've done something and you've seen how it's worked, but you kind of have to refine it a little bit. So it's that kind of thing. Now, this can be like a drastic thing, but I feel like it's just kind of emphasizing the fact that, when we have those kind of breaking away of things and we put things back together, it's how we master things. I also feel like this is kind of saying, like the fact how, we constantly have like these mini awakenings, like we don't have like these new awarenesses and to just kind of be stale, right? There's always next steps on the journey, and I feel like that's kind of where we're at here. And it's kind of like, this is it's like the antivenom, right? This is neutralizes the poison, but just like sometimes poison can be medicine in small doses, it's kind of like that. And then we go to our rows of tarot, and I have the Queen of Swords and I have the Chariot. Now, if you look, I have the Chariot twice here. I also have the 7 4 times. At first, I thought it was 3 times, but since I have the Chariot twice, that's 2 more 7s. So 7's got to mean something, because yesterday I had 3 7s also. Or did I have 2 7s? I can't remember. Having a lot of 7s can mean that there's so much change and transformation around you, and to kind of be aware of your choices and the opportunities that you have around you, because there's so many that it's kind of like you could have the possibility of stepping into the wrong turn, right? And it doesn't have to be a wrong turn. It's just maybe not the one that you're trying to go for at this point. So that's, again, redefining these things. And a lot of times also having all the set, like a bunch of 7s, having all 7s in your reading can also mean that there's a drastic change coming. But this change comes with different sets of circumstances. It's, again, starting from the beginning. So whoever this is for, and I'm kind of feeling it. I don't know. But let's get back to my first column, which I have the Queen of Wands and I have the Chariot. So the Queen of Wands here, I feel like, as this being the column of who this person is, or how you know it's you, or maybe you don't know this about yourself. But I feel like this Queen is somebody who has this knowledge, and she not only has knowledge, but she kind of is very sure of where she is on this path, right? I feel like since this is kind of like a starting over on this path, on this wheel, we're kind of looking at this like, okay, I'm sure of it this time. I kind of have a direction and I know where I'm at this time. I've learned what I don't want to do, and I learned what I do want to do. But also, I feel like this is kind of like innate knowledge too that she's kind of bringing on, right? And with the Chariot coming up twice, I definitely feel like that you are on the right path. Whatever you're doing right now, whatever you are strong and feeling strong to do, and feeling that pull to do, that it's right. And then in my second column, which is what we need to focus on, we have the Chariot again. It's almost like emphasizing the Chariot, like, hey, yeah, I'm just letting you know that focus on this path. And it feels like with this path that this is somebody who, you have the ability, you have the resources to do it the way that you want to now, right? That's starting over, but you have the ability to do it the way you want to. You have strong foundations. And it's also about like the time's right, and it's huge for growth, and this is a major step forward and outward, and especially with the 3 of Wands there. The 3 of Wands, like, so this is such an expansive thing. This is really telling me in this column of what we need to focus on expanding and embracing this path that it obviously is filling you with exploration and feeling that wonder of, this is it, right? So if you're feeling this message must be for you. But so yeah, and it's like being in the right place at the right time. But it's also about not fearing the things going wrong, right? Just like we talked about in the Harvest card, and also in the Herbal Astrology card. It's about, having the passion, but also the knowledge and the determination to do this thing. And I feel like that's where somebody is and where they need to strengthen and focus. And then in my third column, which is always my column of what resources we have around us, what skills we have, what energy or what people we have around us. We have 2 7s, and then so whatever. That's massive changes and opportunities happening all around us. With the 7 of Pentacles, that's the hard work again, just like the Harvest. It's really about, you're putting in all this effort, and it's not for nothing, right? And then with the 7 of Swords, this being our asset, and not taking a negative aspect of this. I'm not taking the negative part where it's, it could be somebody sneaky or whatever. I never do anyway, because I always think of the 7 of Swords as somebody being crafty, or somebody looking at things in a different way. And being with the 7 of Pentacles, what this tells me is somebody is trying to figure out a way, or you have figured out a way, being this is your asset, or you have the ability to work smarter, right? So not so much harder, but work smarter. And you have the ability to make this change what you want it to be. through whatever asset or skill or resources you have around you, you have the ability to be strategic and make this work for you. This so much tells me that it is possible. Whatever you're looking for, it is possible. And I'm embracing that right now because I'm trying to do all kinds of things. But again, I'm also trying to not just go crazy and just go full force without a plan. And I feel like that's part of it too. Slow down a little bit. Just got chills, so that's what that means. So work smart and strategic, but don't go like nuts, right? Don't, like, I do that sometimes, but sometimes we panic, like if you have a goal and especially like if you're pressed for time, like say that there's like some financial thing, and you're like, I got to make some side money. I got to get this taken care of so I can be comfortable. You know what I mean? And then, so rather than taking the skill and doing what you're supposed to be doing to make it work right, sometimes we go full force and we don't really put that effort. And that's where we start back over to the beginning. But I feel like with this is saying, do the work, you're doing the work, and you're really putting that effort in, but you're putting it in a way that's smarter, and you know how to kind of manipulate the situation, and not in a negative way. I'm saying manipulate as kind of like work with your resources. So I feel like that's what somebody's doing right here, and I feel like that's your asset. Work with that, right? And then again, so we go to the last column, which we have the Magician. So that's also work, like, that's working smart, and that is also using your resources around you. And then we have the Queen of Swords again. So we have the Queen of Swords twice and the Chariot twice, which I think is beautiful, and a whole crap load of sevens. So it's, there's this huge change, and we're kind of in this energy where, like, it's very direct. Somebody is being very direct and aware and clear about where they want to be in this cycle, or wherever this path, and they are solid in it. They are solid. They are cemented in that Chariot, and they are going forward, right? And with the Magician, again, I feel like this being in our column of our advice, or our next step, it's really saying, work your magic, and that words are magic. Sometimes we can set ourselves up to fail, so we need to set ourselves up to not fail. Believe that you can do it, and do the things, like do all the things that you can easily do. Set yourself up every day. Wake up telling yourself that you're going to do it. Wake up and make sure that, you don't have any obstacles in your way that you could easily have done in 5 minutes before you went to bed the night before, right? Things like that. Like, I feel like, use your magic, believe in yourself, allow spirit and trust in the universe that it is happening. And I feel like all of that is really where I feel like we're at right now. If you're feeling this energy, because I'm kind of feeling it too. And I'm really liking this Magician and the Queen of Swords energy, because, that's like, you're cutting out the bullshit, right? You're somebody who is not taking no for an answer. And you're doing it in a decisive way, and you're allowing that to help you, right? You know your goal, and you know what you have to around you to help you, but you also know what doesn't help you either. And I feel like that's another thing we're also being told too, because the Queen of Wands, she's a very, decisive queen. She's fair, but she doesn't allow bullshit. And I feel like that's kind of what this is saying. And so then I go to my very last card, and I'm so glad I picked this one, because I haven't done this deck in a while. But this is just beautiful. And I've had this card before, which is number 31 in the Medicine Heart Oracle, Grib Sprayang. I always say that wrong. But, and if you see in there, there's some wolves and there's crows. What that made me think of is, like in the wild, how they say that, like, and I think it's ravens, but crows do it too. Like, they always work with wolves because it's a symbiotic relationship. And crows and wolves always mean something to me. So maybe that means something to you too. But this whole card is about protecting your spiritual and emotional energy. It's a beautiful, beautiful card. I'm going to read the little inscription in the beginning. It says, consider the practices, places, and people that strengthen and brighten your spirit. These are treasures to be sought and protected in your life. You are worthy of well-being and happiness. You are encouraged to give yourself love, respect, and compassion. Be careful with your own heart. Treat your heart as a divine gem it is. Believe that you are worthy, and your heart shall most readily attract life's vitalizing magic and blessings to you. Shift from making do to building yourself up from within. You are destined to rise, thrive, and succeed. Oh, that gave me chills. But the Grib Sprayang is a Tibetan term. It translates to pollution wolf. So the like grib refers to like the lower vibrational stuff. So it's kind of like negative energy, things that kind of like don't serve you, right? That Queen of Swords is trying to cut out of her life. And then Sprayang refers to the spiritual wolf that devours these things. It gobbles them up. And so in doing so, it performs like an inner and outer cleaning. So like when you do like shamanic journeys, a lot of times there are different things that animals might do in a journey that you experience that it might be scary and it might seem weird. Like they might eat you and then spit you out or something. Do you know what I mean? And then you might go through the whole process of digestion, but you come out renewed, right? It's all symbolic and it's beautiful. But anyway, so that's kind of what that reminds me of. But it's also about, having the ability to kind of have that discernment. And when we're starting from the beginning, that's kind of what it is. It's like we go through these things and they get this yuck, right? Go through all these things. We're like, oh, well, that's kind of crappy. That's not helping me. And so you get to a certain point and then that thing comes up again and you're like, okay, I'm not tolerating this again because this is why I didn't get farther than I wanted to be. I'm not bitter about it because I have learned that lesson and that makes me stronger, right? It's that whole poison into medicine thing. But I just think that's beautiful. And wolf is like a great teacher, the pathfinder. This is such a good animal to me. This is one of my favorite animals. But anyway, so I feel like that's kind of what this is saying, like you are ready. Whoever this is, you're ready. You know what you want to go. And now you're on this level where you're kind of able to see what is good for you and what isn't good for you. And then that's not being like in a ruthless, nasty way. It's protecting your own spirit and your own heart and your own endeavor so that way you can prosper, you can progress. And then when you do that, the people in your life that, choose to stick around or, those people in your aura, like they benefit because they see what happens when you do those type of things. And not only that, but then, the people in your life benefit. So it's you're not being bad by getting better, right? I think a lot of times too is like, I say this all the time that like, there's a lot of generations that do this. And I think we're still a generation that does this too. It's kind of like you have to suffer to get any type of like, greatness or whatever. No, I mean, you do have to kind of like hold your own and take care of your people. You can't just like ignore your entire life and then just focus on yourself. If you got people that rely on you, you owe it to them. That's just showing them by example that what not to do. And then sometimes that can cause, like I say, you have kids or something that can cause them to kind of go down a longer road to getting to where you're trying to be, right? But it's also, we learn all the time. It's like, if I sacrifice, I'm doing the right thing. It's almost like martyrdom, and it's not. I mean, it's that whole concept that like, if I do good, if I do the right things, or if I don't let myself shine, then that thing in heaven where I'll be dead and I have to like go through all the stuff to even get will be that much greater. And that's not it. The heaven is, inside. It's being yourself in such a beautiful way with self-love and universal love for everyone. And doing that and having that maximum self is really what that is. So I've gone on long enough. I probably took too long on my break, but anyways, I love you guys and I will see you later. Oh, I want to say that I'm going to be adding some stuff to my Buy Me a Coffee. I'm working on some different things. You don't have to buy anything, but if you know somebody that would like certain things that I'm doing, and I'm slowly putting stuff on there, it would help me out, which is great. I'm not monetized or whatever. And there's some things that I could be helped with in that way. So, if you know anybody that's interested in certain things or that I might have on there, I have, some Oracle cards I'm going to be putting up there, and different things like that. So just check it out and I will talk to you guys later.